Hey folks, today we're covering Tinto Flavor 8, and this week Pavia is going to be talking to us about Morocco. This is going to be a brief overview of the content coming for this country in EU5, and as always, at the beginning here is just going to show the initial introduction you get when you pick Morocco on the country selection screen. So this beginning text just giving you a brief overview again of the country, the recent history, where they are in the world at this point. And then next, as we've seen in previous weeks, the graphical version of this as well. So you'll see the leader, the flag, what their skills are, what kind of country they are, and what tier they are in the world as well. And again, similar to previous weeks, I think the flag will look different in the future. Pavia reiterating all of this is work in progress. Don't worry about how it actually looks at the moment. This is more about the actual content itself. Next, we're going to get a picture of the lands of Morocco. Nothing too crazy here, as you can see, on the northwest coast of Africa and a little bit of land in Iberia as well. And then Pavia going on to say Morocco starts with a fairly interesting diplomatic situation here. And you can see the different tiers, like who they're in an alliance with, who they're currently at war with, who they have as a tribute or a vassal as well. And you can see all that laid out in the map here. The realm below them, that is a vassal subject as well. And then Castile and Tlamecan are enemies and rivals. Tunis is an ally, and Morocco starts at war with Tlamecan as well. So you're going to be playing that out as soon as you start playing as Morocco, or I guess if you're on the other side, fighting Morocco if you play as them. And then next, Pavia is going to cover some of the unique structural content coming to Morocco. You can see the first one here in estate privilege. This gives monthly progress towards spiritualist 0.10, estate satisfaction equilibrium 2.5%, but then tax efficiency minus 10%. So this is a privilege given to the clergy, which obviously makes them a little bit happier and moves you towards a more spiritual realm if you do implement this. The next one is tribal strongholds. This gives max rural control minus 5%. This privilege will be granted to tribes in your country that has a capital in your region, which will make it more powerful, but reducing your control. So I guess they build these strongholds, but you do lose some control over them, but they are more powerful, so they're more likely to be able to help you out in wars and things like that. The next thing shown off is the unique parliament name. As we've seen through this series, and as they mentioned in the main Tinto Talk series, they are adding these unique names to the parliaments in the game. And here is the one for Morocco. I'm not going to try pronounce it, but you can see it on the screen at the moment. And then next is going to show off the art that you have at the start of the game. Well, not specifically art, but the unique kind of like buildings and artifacts and things like that. So you can see here, there's going to be 2 mosques that you have, and then also a chronicle, and you can see those in the next screenshots. You can see the chronicle here first. The next is the first mosque here. This is a temple tower, created in 1158, and it is in Marrakesh. And then the last one as well, this is another mosque. This is actually a monument type, so it is a little bit different, but they are both called mosques. And this is also in Marrakesh as well. So again, these are going to be unique to this area of the world, obviously. And then next we have the unique advances for Morocco. The first one is coastal raiding. This won't come as a surprise to anyone who knows the history of this area. And if you played EU4, you had to deal with like the Berbers and things like that. So as I said, here is coastal raiding. This is available in the Age of Traditions. Can hire privateers? Yes. Privateers will raid for slaves? Yes. And the country has a long tradition of raiding the coastlines for what it requires in the form of slaves, money, and all other good things in life. So you'll have this, and you'll be able to have privateers, which is pretty cool. The next one is Zanata Roots, and this is available in the Age of Traditions. Wool output plus 25%. So you're going to focus on that probably on most of your campaigns, getting that wool production going, you know, privateering on the side, but some wool production to make some money and all that cool stuff. The next one, even better than wool, is gold. Saharan gold trade. This is available in the Age of Reformation. Gold output plus 10% and mining threshold plus 1%. The gold mine locally within our territory is of great quality and a great tool for further spread of our trade influence beyond our ports. So you're going to get a lot of gold out of this if you do build those, you know, build the mines as you progress into that age. The next one is army focus. This is available in the Age of Absolutism, and that unlocks the following estate privilege. This is monthly progress towards quantity and reinforcement speed 5%. So if you implement this, you're moving away from quality army towards quantity slowly. So it's if you want to have that happen. Reinforcement speed, though, is quite nice. And then obviously the happiness and the power that this will give to that estate if you do decide to implement it. The next one is the Black Guard. This is available in the Age of Absolutism. This allows the Black Guard regular regiment, and this is an elite force of former slaves raised since childhood to abide by religious creed. They excel in archery, horsemanship, musketry, and masonry. These troops form the backbone of our army at a time when our people needed protection the most. And you can see that on the next screenshot. This is the Black Guard infantry type. It needs firearms, weaponry, and leather. And for maintenance, it basically needs the exact same thing as well. So these are kind of like slaves trained to be the force of the army at this time, and you can implement them and see how well you do with these special unit types. Next, we're going to get onto buildings, and they actually call out here some of these unique buildings are already unlocked at the start of the game, unlike most of them that we've seen in previous Tinto Flavor talks. So these ones are a little bit different in that you have them immediately, or they are available to you at least. So the first one is the Agadir. That's probably how you pronounce it. And this is obviously a building. It gives you food capacity plus 500. That's quite a lot. Garrison size 100, fort level plus 1, and fort defense 10%. You can see the possible production methods here. There's a lot of options to fill this out. Make sure it's running correctly. And I guess that depends on what maybe you're importing. If you've expanded your realm, you've got more access to like corn rather than wheat or something along those lines. And that is going to help you keep this running efficiently. The next one is the Funduk. That's how I'm going to pronounce it anyway. And this is another building. This has maximum stockpile capacity plus 200. And then in the location that it is built, it will have trade advantage 0.5, trade capacity plus 1, and the burgers trade capacity plus 10% as well. You can see the production method, and this is a merchant-focused building, helping you go into that trade game maybe. Maybe you give up the life of piracy and go trading. Whatever you want to do in your campaigns, this will lean towards that. The next one is the Royal Garden. This is monthly prestige 0.02. Doesn't seem like a great deal, but I guess it adds up. And then monthly diplomats 0.2. And if you're not sure how that works, there was a Tinto Talks recently talking about diplomats. It's a little bit different to how it worked in EU4. You don't have like 4 diplomats. You have a pool of diplomatic power, and that's basically how this is going to add to that system as well. You can see the production method, all the usual things we see on these. And that is the end of the buildings. Next, as always, we're going to get onto the narrative content and some of the events that you'll see playing as Morocco. The first one is the just defense of the Sultanate of Tunis. And the Sultan here really doesn't look impressed, does he? He's looking at us like, what am I dealing with in this country? And you can see the event here. There's actually only one option to this, 2 arms, and you will gain 10 prestige. So, you know, press button, get 10 prestige. We do like that. Next, we've got the Destiny of Morocco. This is all about Tunis. If you want to get involved in what happened there, expand your control into another area of the region. You can ride to glory, or no, we will keep to our own affairs. So do we want to interrupt with this? Do we want to get rid of this usurper? No, we might just stick in our own lands, or, you know, expand in there, take those lands over. Next is another early game event. This is the Banu Marin. This is all about the local men of the Mareb region of the game and how you're going to deal with them as you progress through your campaigns. There's 2 different options here, and you can see the outcome of this. The first one is every owned location with wool, such as Sefru, will gain a trade modifier. It will change your societal values by 33 towards traditional economy. That's quite a lot. That's like half of it as it shows here. So if you do this, you're really moving your societal value towards traditional instead of capital economy, but the burghers will lose estate satisfaction. And then the other option is the tribes lose satisfaction, but you'll move more towards that capital economy. So it's really deciding, do we want to go back to like wool production? As we saw earlier in this dev diary, you get a lot of bonuses towards that. Or do we want to start moving onwards and kind of progressing our economy towards something a little bit more modern? Do we want to progress our realm? It's going to make your campaigns play out a little bit different. And then later on in the game, in 1350 or around that time, you'll also get this event. I'm not going to try pronounce the name of it. And this person, he was one of the world's best philosophers. He had a bunch of money and prestige. He got the best education. And you're going to be deciding if you want to bring him into the fold and have him help your realm. Or, as we've seen in previous dev diaries, you could just say, better not. I don't want to do it. So, yeah, go on to somewhere else. Or do you want to sponsor him, bring him into your realm, and then see what bonuses you get out of that? Next, we've got an event called Power in the Wrong Hands. So not everything is good. You're going to have some bad events, as everywhere else in the world as well. So the slow decay of authority and splendor is observed only when it is too late. Such was the case with this Sultan, whose failed attempts at curbing power of our Umara has led to them completely taking over every important part of our government. Alas, what can we do? So this is where you've really not controlled the Umara, as it says, and they've started to take over, reduce your power, and you can see here, this will add the powerful vizierships, government reform, resisting the autocratic tendencies of our Umara in subsequent events will lower the requirement to remove this government reform. So this implements this reform. If you have this event, they get like overview of your country, but you can actually fight this as you progress through the game. You'll have events that allow you to remove their power and then ultimately remove this reform. So in this event, you just have to implement this reform and then you can try get out of it later. And you can see what the reform is here. Monthly progress towards aristocracy 0.10, replace cabinet member cost plus 100%, clergy block from cabinet, yes, burghers block from cabinet, yes, having no head of cabinet yields the following: monthly legitimacy 0.5, and this is a set of ministers that have superseded the authority of the crown. These offices held a firm grip on power whilst the sultan is a mere puppet. And then I guess it's your decision. Do you want to just carry on this way, or do you want to try get rid of them and go back to being a powerful monarch? So again, you're going to have those choices which one you want to do in your campaigns, but this could be quite interesting to just leave in place and see how it plays out. And with that, that is the end of the content for Morocco that is getting shown this week. And as Pavia mentioned, this is just some of the content. This isn't everything. There's quite a lot going on in these, and we haven't even got to like France, England, Italy. You know, a lot of these places on the map, there's going to have a whole bunch of content, I would think, especially as we've had Morocco, Bohemia, Bavaria, you know, pretty important countries in this time frame, but they're getting quite a bit of content. So the larger nations, I can't imagine how much we're going to get at launch. But with that, that is the end. As I said, next week, Pavia's going to be talking to us about Hungary, similar setup, what's going to be coming structurally, what's going to be coming story-wise. Do let me know in the comments down below what you think of this week's Tinto Flavor and what you're looking forward to for Hungary next week. I'm sure there's going to be some really cool events there. A lot of historical stuff happened, obviously, during the time frame of this game in that country and kind of around that area of the map. But we will leave it there for today, so hit like, subscribe, all those things you know what to do. I'm covering this game up to official announcement, launch and beyond, and I cover Crusader Kings 3 in a very similar manner. But we'll leave it there, and I'll see you all next time.